North American road circuits are known around the world for being some of the best in the world by any metric. The most challenging, the fastest, the most fun, the most daunting. There's a select few tracks that are all of these things, and this place is one of them. Welcome to Braselton, Georgia, and Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta, which plays host to Round 5 of the Washington, D.C. Region SCCA Virtual Racing League. Tonight, it's a 45-minute sprint race with touring cars and the Porsche 911 Cup car. For both categories, it will be challenging, daunting, fast, and hopefully fun event at the halfway point of the season, round 5 of 10 in the points championship. Hi everyone, Kyle Heyer joined by Connor Horn tonight. Connor, welcome aboard. Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta. This place is a little bit of everything. As I said, it's fast, it's fun, but it is absolutely daunting and a major challenge as well, especially in multi-class.
Yeah, multi-class action, and it's going to be tough. We saw it a few weeks ago in M-Tech. We're going to see it once again tonight, and it's going to be still a little bit hectic with the longer races, one of the longer races of the season at 45 minutes, so we're going to see even more multi-class action than we'd be used to seeing as we get into the track map here. Very fast track, but you got to be very precise about where you enter and exit these corners. Turn 1, a very simple uphill after the exit of turn number 1, but then you get into the S's where you might really see some trouble as far as multi-class racing goes.
Yeah, this track just over 2.5 miles, that first corner, and most of these cars will be fourth gear. Climb the hill up to turn 3. That's that right-hander. Got to nail that curb, then descend down through turn 4 and the squiggly bits to turn 5. That's an uphill corner. It is extremely challenging to get a launch out of there into 6 and 7, Connor, but that leads up onto one of the longest straightaways in North American road racing, and perhaps one of the best passing opportunities as well in North American road racing. That's 10A and 10B, that chicane before that final rising and falling corner.
And in real life, we've seen plenty of drama in that chicane, and we'll see some more in the years to come, and we might even see some tonight as well. But 10A, 10B is going to be very hectic. Everyone's going to try to pass down there, especially in the Porsche division. It's going to be very tough to get runs on each other going down that hill, so we're going to see a few dives here and there tonight, I would say. Yeah,
qualifying is underway right now, and overall times on the board at the moment. And so far, it's Jack Chrissy on top of the Porsche Cup category, with a 1:20.008. Morgan Burkhardt second. We've got DJ Alessandrini this week as well. Now he is here, Illing Hung in the 32, who's won a handful of races so far. He'll be one to beat, as he has been so far this season. But in that TCR category, lots of dramas as of late. Up at the front of the field, Michael Montello won last week at Long Beach, but it wasn't without some dramas, some contact up front. Before that race ended up going to the number 65 of Montello. Darian Taggart, though, his race was over before it started in the hairpin at Long Beach last week on the pace lap, so he's looking for redemption and is the quickest so far.
Yeah, very fast. We obviously know how Long Beach can go and how it did end up going, but Taggart always having decent speed, and I'm sure he'll try to take the fight to Montello once again this week as he comes through 6 and 7 as we get to that huge straightaway that we were talking about.
Yeah, and as far as the field sizes go tonight, we're looking at about 15 or 16 Porsche Cups and a fair amount, almost 20 touring cars, so it is a pretty sizable field. And it should be a lot of fun. 45-minute race, slightly longer than our previous weeks, Connor. That's not going to change a ton, I don't think, as far as the flow of the race goes. It will just give you a bit more opportunity to make up some time. Here's Sean Fritz, new name here in the DC SCCA Virtual Racing League, the number 18, and off to a very good start, currently provisionally sitting 3rd in qualifying. Make that 4th.
Nice liver to go along with it as he rides that Honda over the curbs. Gonna see those curbs being used a lot, and these cars will try to take it best they can. He's got Facebook and YouTube on the back of that car. It's another driver going down that long straightaway. Trying to see if he put a time down. He did. He's about 5th in class, so a pretty good qualifying run so far, but it is 1.2 seconds off of Michael Montello, who's at top of the class so far.
How about Jack Chrissy to the top? He was there for a moment in Porsche Cup, got dethroned by Morgan Burkhardt, but then Chrissy took it back. That was a bit of a surprise, I think, for both of us, perhaps. DJ Alessandrini only went 2nd quick. We know how fast DJ is. Of course, Illing Hung is sitting purple right now if he can finish the lap on the pace that he's on, but Jack Chrissy is showing up this week with pace in that number 6 car for sure.
You know, certain drivers go to certain tracks knowing they're going to be more of a factor than they usually are, and that could definitely be, Road Atlanta could definitely be one of those tracks for Jack Chrissy. It's like you said, top of the board, feeling pretty solid so far, and he could still probably improve on this lap as well. This is his final timed lap that he's going to be able to run here, and he's going to finish it up with probably just under 8 minutes to go, and he's firing down the straightaway, but Alessandrini right on his heels. Alessandrini still has 2 more laps that he can put down, including the one he's on right now.
Yeah, I think your best lap will be the last one, is the way these tires warm up. their quickest later in the session. So Alessandrini should go quicker. Iling Hung still has a couple laps to go. He's up 6/10 on his best lap. That would put him at a 1:19 flat. That would be a really quick lap. Can he do it? Iling Hung across the stripe, a 1:19 flat, 1:19.020. That will put him at the top by nearly half a second. So no surprises there. What's Alessandrini got here as he comes over the crest?
We'll just have to wait and see. Jack Chrissy did improve, but still 4/10 of a second off of Iling Hung. Alessandrini, his second to last lap is a 1:19.435. That puts him just behind Chrissy for third, and he will try to fire in one more hot lap to try to get closer to Hung.
And Hung still on it right now. Through turn 5, big slide there. See the counter steer. He's going to lose some time on corner exit, but absolutely pushing the limits here. And Alessandrini, I don't think has really had competition this fierce in years here in this series. He's just so in tune with the simulator here. A lot of drivers are just coming in here to have some fun. Some of them are hyper competitive, but absolutely DJ is top of the step when it comes to results in the past as far as a season championship is concerned. But he's got Jack Christie showing up this week, Iling Hung in the 32. And then as far as the touring cars go, Michael Montello, Elias Roman, and Darian Taggart, the top of the board right now there. It's currently 2 Hyundais and a Honda at the top. Make that 2 Hondas and 2 Hyundais now. Ken House-Seal sneaks up into second.
Iling Hung just stopped on his lap, so his qualifying effort is done as House-Seal comes through, trying to get a better lap over that curb. You're going to use a lot of that curb in turn 3 tonight, just trying to maximize your effort there and get the best run down the S as possible. Alessandrini is going to come across the line. Can he get anywhere close to Iling Hung? We'll just have to wait and see. This is his final lap through the final corner. Big slide out of the final corner, and he does improve. He does beat Chrissy for second by maybe 4/1000ths of a second, but still 4/10ths of a second off of Iling Hung.
Yeah, didn't get it done enough. So he will land himself in second place for the start of this race, assuming that he can keep it there. There's not a lot more cars left to go. John Schwartz is one of them in the number 40. Late entrance into the night, so we'll have to reboot the graphics to get him up where he should be as far as on the timing and scoring pylon, but he has yet to run a lap anyways. Nice livery on this car, the great kind of Porsche thematic livery, the Rothmans Porsche colors. Very nostalgic. What he's got here. The features of this Porsche Cup car in the real world and in iRacing, I suppose, if you could turn the traction control and anti-lock brakes on, these cars do have it, but the way that these cars are configured here for the simulator, they do not have anti-lock brakes nor traction control. Ken House-Seal just went to the top in touring car, brings his Honda Civic Type R to pole, but these cars are very different. They don't have the aids that the touring cars have, and they've got more horsepower and the rear drive and rear engine. So these are a handful at times, but they're certainly one of the fun cars to drive here in iRacing as far as enjoyment goes. And paired with a track like this, I think you're just going to enjoy lapping this place.
Yeah, you're going to really try to cherish the cleanest air you're going to get tonight, which is before you get into trouble with slower traffic. You're definitely going to want to really focus on how much time you have to drive this track in clean air and not have to battle anyone, because just driving this track is, I can only imagine, just pure fun. I haven't driven it a lot personally, but watching a lot of it is a very fun track to watch racing, and it seems like everyone here loves running Road Atlanta, no matter what car combo it is.
It's just a really rewarding racetrack, especially this last sector and the first sector. If you nail it and get it right, it feels really good because it's so challenging. It's a pretty technical circuit, but it's got some brute force as well with that back straightaway run. The other thing we're going to have to contend with here, Connor, it's getting pretty late in the day, and can't quite see the temperature, but the time you can see, it's already just about 8 o'clock in the summertime here. So the sun is going down, and it will continue to go down until it's effectively dark in our 45-minute race. So it's going to be interesting to watch as we contend with darkness and multi-class. I point out the multi-class as a challenge because look at this section. It is so hard to go side by side down through here. You effectively can't. And multi-class with prototypes and GT cars, Connor, the prototypes have significantly more downforce. The Porsche Cup car and the TCR car don't actually have that different of a downforce number. It's just the horsepower and the way that they put it to the ground that is going to be the difference maker as far as the corner speeds go in this section. So passing through here is going to be immensely challenging, and it's going to create some log jams, and I'm sure we'll see some torn up virtual fenders and things this evening.
That section is really going to preach patience when the Porsches catch up eventually. When you catch someone in that section, you're going to have to be very, very patient. There is no too wide, almost no too wide action that's going to work through there. So once you catch someone, if you can't get them before the entry to turn 3, you're probably going to have to just sit on their bumper until really the exit of turn number 5. And that's a tough exit to get by someone as well. So we're going to have to see a lot of drivers just biding their time and just sticking in line. The drivers who try to get around too wide in that part of the track right there are the ones who are going to face some pretty big consequences, I would think.
Yeah, absolutely. And, the other thing is braking performance in these cars. ABS in the touring cars, no ABS in the Porsche Cup car. And so that means that there will be, some dicey moments heading into the braking zones, like right here at turn 10A. So there's a look at your qualifying order, and effectively everyone that could have qualified has qualified. John Schwartz is still on track, so we'll keep our eye on him. James Cathers, David Stern, Bob Shoemaker, they're not going to get enough time to put a lap in. They will start at the tail of their respective fields. Schwartz, though, will get to complete this lap, and then we'll have a look at our results before we move into our 45-minute race session here shortly.
Yeah, he's only on lap 3. This will be his last lap, though, under 2 minutes to go. I don't think he'll get around in time to complete another lap. Just short of it, I would say.
I think you're right. It's about 1:21 around here, so he'd have to get back to the stripe in 20 seconds. Don't think he's going to do that.
See, these speeds are going to climb more and more as the sun goes down. The speeds will go up just a little bit, and he's still going 165 into this 10A, 10B section. Using all that flat curb, so you can really use all of that. It's a little bit more rough 10B. And that exit curb you're going to be using a lot of as well. And then try to just full throttle this best you can, or maybe a little crack of the throttle.
it's a security lift, I think, at least until the tires are warm. Schwartz up to 9th, and he will complete his qualifying effort. Let's have a look at our results before we transition into the race here. Qualifying for Road Atlanta, Illing Wong in the 32 up at the top, then DJ Alessandrini, Jack Chrissy, Morgan Burkhardt, Paul Darling, your top 5 there. That is a stout top 5 ordering, and they will all be a threat to win this race here tonight. In the touring car class, though, you see starting down there in 18th overall, Ken Hauseal, Michael Montello, Elias Roman. They're just picking up where they left off last week at Long Beach. But where they left off at Long Beach was a lot of drama, pushing, shoving, some accidents. The last couple of weeks, even looking back to Sebring, we saw some collisions there at the front of the field. So hoping to clean that up, but it has led to some pretty exciting action despite some of the dramas that we've seen.
Yeah, definitely remember Sebring. The few instances of contact in turn number 1 caused some maybe, hurt feelings, bent fenders there. And then I did not catch a lot of Long Beach.
Same thing. It was the exact same scenario in turning into turn 1 at Long Beach. Driver on the outside turning in and hooked a driver right into the fence. So, that kind of scenario was a bit strange to me. And we talked about it a little bit. I did with the season administrators. And what we kind of came to the conclusion of was, yes, there's some driver fault here for sure, but you have to consider that these touring cars understeer on entry. They don't like to rotate initially. So what happens is you're on the inside of a guy and you turn in and then nothing happens. And the guy on the outside has to turn eventually, and they've ended up right hooking their competitor into the wall. So it has been an interesting season so far. We have 45 minutes on the board here, Connor, and it's about time to roll through our starting lineup. Let's kick things off with the front row in the Porsche 911 Cup category. This is Illing Wong in the number 32. DJ Alessandrini starts second in the number 61.
Yeah, no one loves getting beat by Illing more than Alessandrini. He loves to challenge, and we'll see that challenge again tonight. Jack Christie's going to be right behind Alessandrini, starting 3rd. Alongside him will be Morgan Burkhardt.
And starting in, starting in 5th place, it's Paul Darling in the 155. Ryan Maloney starts 6th in the number 9.
7th place, Tyler Sadiq, 7th position. Then Kevin Zhu alongside him in the 8th position.
9th place, row 5 in Porsche Cups. John Schwartz in the number 40. Olivier Piatek joining us here, the DC Region SCCA Virtual Racing League. He starts 10th in the number 34.
I love the livery in 11th. The Culver's Porsche. That's Ed Harris. That's a beautiful livery. I just like Culver's a lot. Then David Graver alongside him in 12th.
Yeah, I like that as well as a Midwesterner. Jay Robinson in the number 321 starts 13th. Deacon Greenfield 14th in the number 36.
Then 15th and 16th will be Richard Sawicki, and then Eddie Katarakis, and then Don Manning will round out the Porsche field. Be one of the last drivers in that class as well.
Yeah, it'll be James Cathers alongside him with a no qualifying effort for Cathers, recent winner in grid life side of things this season as well, and a longtime SCCA competitor. Ken Ausil, another SCCA competitor, starts first in the number 23 in the touring car category. Michael Montello and Elias Roman second and third in touring cars.
Then 4th and 5th, Wojtek Heidecek. He's always pretty fast in the Captain Crunch machine. He'll try to stay up there, and he'll be battling with Darian Taggart, I'm sure.
And that's Ryan Carwile in the 71. Adam Koback, that will start behind them. Louis Alessi in the number 43. Trent McMillian rejoins us this time in 9th in the number 25. Lex Kiricek and Sean Fritz, newcomer, starts 11th, Connor. As we go back on now to Darren Treacle and Francois Brou, Firas Barzingi and Ryan Christoph in the Audi RS3 LMS. One of the Audis in the field, Anthony Montello, Felix Borodady, Nathan Brackman, and Justin Craig, with just two more. One is Callan Crocker. The others are David Stern and Bob Shoemaker. That rounds out your 40-car field here tonight for the DC Region Virtual Racing League for the SCCA, as Yiling Wang works the field up to turn 3. This is a pretty critical area of the racetrack as well, to just nail that curb on the inside and get yourself lined up for that run down the S's. This is such a fast, fun, and just frankly challenging complex, but you have to be precise, and in a multi-class scenario, this can get you in trouble.
You know, you got to be especially careful lap 1 as well. The pace is going to be really slow. You might not have access to that turn 3 curb, which is a really big reference point, as you can see how tight it gets. Drivers in the grass on the warm-up lap. As we go through some of our track facts, I believe not born in 1970. The track was built in 1970, 2.5 miles, 12 turns, if you count 10A and 10B as well. As you can see now, the TCR class coming through here. Just a huge, huge track and a very fun track, and we are going to see a lot of action today. Yeah, one of the cool facts about this place that, Connor, I'm not sure if I've ever told you before, but if you're not familiar with it, this track didn't look like this until about 1998 or so. It might have been a little bit prior to that. But before that, this area leading up to 10B, you see the tunnel just on the inside radius of that corner? Well, the track used to go down to the road level of that tunnel. And this whole complex, instead of a tight chicane, was a very fast sweeper. You went extremely downhill, then extremely uphill, right to the crest at turn 11, and came back around over 12. That complex was called Gravity Cavity. And if you can find videos on YouTube of that, it is one of the most spectacularly named and aptly named sections in all of road racing, let alone in North America, but of course was replaced with the chicane for safety reasons, and actually introduced a passing opportunity. So all is well and good. 45 minutes on the board. It's about 34 laps of racing. No pit stops to worry about tonight. All racing from flag to flag. No yellow flags. No full course yellows, at least. Yiling Wang in the number 32 is going to bring us to the green flag. The DC Region SCCA Virtual Racing League Round 5 into the sunset at Road Atlanta. We're underway. 3 wide into the first corner. The 26 of Tala Sadiq's got nowhere to go. The 34 of Olivier Piatek right out to the curbing there. Jack Chrissy and Morgan Burkhardt battling for third place as the Porsche field works their way into turn 3 for the first time. And now the touring cars coming to the start. Very frantic and unorganized start at the back for the TCRs. Elias Roman. Oh, they're already crashing.
Yeah, there's one car off. Didn't get a look at who that was.
Already out. One of the teal cars, I think that was Callan Crocker.
Yiling Wang has made a mistake. Alessandrini's through to the lead in the Porsches. Here comes Jack Chrissy as well. A big slide there from Burkhardt as he tries to gather it up.
Yeah, that was out of turn 5. Yiling Wang had a big overcorrect. Lucky to not crash the whole car, but Alessandrini will take advantage of that and get, for at least for this season, a rare race lead for DJ Alessandrini. Already breaking the draft, as looks like Firas Barzingi might have had some contact in the background with Francois Brou.
All Darling and Morgan Burkhardt side by side for 4th here. The max velocity of these things, it's like dropping a stone off a cliff. These things are so fast downhill. Chrissy lines up, gets into DJ. They spin, and Darling goes to the lead out of turn 10B.
I think Yiling Wang, he was trying to make up for lost time, went for the dive. He's spamming sorry in the chat, but just too deep. He locked up, could not control it. We've got a replay immediately, just nowhere he could go, and Alessandrini, nothing he could do there. And like you said, that puts Paul Darling to the lead. Yeah, that was a big mistake, and Wang's kind of made some mistakes here in the early going. We haven't seen that yet
but it's going to massively mix things up here at the front. Darling, Burkhardt, Chrissy, and Maloney, your top 4, as they work their way through lap number 2. Hausil, Roman, Montello. Thankfully, TCR seems to be a bit more orderly in the opening moments, despite that crash from Callan Crocker. And I think Felix Borodady was the other car with some damage on the start. Well, as I say that, so crash in 10B. Sorry, Connor.
Like a little crash here. Looks like no contact. Ooh, synchronized spinning, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, Sean Fritz was one, Lex Kiricek the other, and they'll continue.
Nathan Brackman's gone wide in turn 1 in the background, but yeah, very frantic start, really, in the Porsche class in general. Like you said, rare mistake from Ealing, and he's got some right front fender damage, but he's still working his way back through. He's also got a run on Sandrini. How will he treat battling with 61? They're going to make more contact. I don't think DJ appreciated that. They'll bang fenders again.
Yeah, DJ, he'll accept an apology once. You run into him again, he might not. Powers through in 10B and takes that spot decisively back. This battle is going to rage on, but they're both fast enough to catch the lead group, which is still nose to tail. Looking for the lead is Burkhardt, Chrissy 3rd, Maloney 4th. This is wild stuff here early.
I think everyone saw the top 2 drivers crash out and go down the order. Like, all right, this is our chance to win. Darling, Burkhardt, Chrissy, and Maloney are all going crazy right now trying to get into this race for the lead. John Schwartz is up to 5th as well. Incredible start for him. I am interested to see how Alessandrini and Hung, kind of charge back. They both have pretty solid damage, but we know how much speed they have, obviously.
And for the lead in touring cars, Hausil's got it. Elias Roman wants it. That's the blue and black Hyundai, but he's slow coming out of turn 11. To the outside is Michael Montello. These drivers have come together in weeks past. Think back to Sebring just a couple of weeks ago.
And you do not want that again. No side-by-side to turn 1 quite yet. I'm sure we'll see it in a little bit, but Roman kind of struggling to find a grip to get close to Hausil to make a move. Might be holding up Montello just a little bit as David Graver's gone around out of turn number 5. He's struggling just a little bit in the Porsche class.
Darian Taggart's just behind Wojtek Hajduczek in the 24s, runs 5th right now. Pretty close battles here. Ryan Christoph. This is a livery that has the Redenzo sports car banner on it from way back when. 46 heads down the hill, running 11th right now. Good to see Christoph. Anthony Montello goes for a slide into the wall. Big impact there for the number 268.
Yeah, huge hit. Like the rear end just kind of swapped on him, and he came so close to keeping that straight, but just couldn't figure it out. He'll be out of this race, and that battle for the lead in Porsche not close to done. Still a 4-car battle. Paul Darling holding everyone off.
For now, Morgan Burkhardt is hot on his heels. Jack Chrissy is there. Ryan Maloney is there. John Schwartz, you mentioned, past DJ Alessandrini, who's kept Ealing behind him for another lap or so. 0.2 of a second between them, and at least a second to cool off and calm down and try to renegotiate their way forward. Based on Hung's qualifying pace, he ran a half a second a lap faster than everybody else in qualifying, but the race pace, I imagine, will be much more similar. And they might have trouble getting back to this lead group, especially if they don't battle as hard as they did in the opening laps.
Well, just last lap alone, they were both of them were 0.4 faster than our race leader, Paul Darling. And Ealing Hung is pretty much on that pace, following Alessandrini through. They're catching up big time to John Schwartz. Alessandrini might make the move right here for this position because he has no time to waste, but he won't make it because Schwartz went in very deep, maybe too deep. He does make it pretty well, but Alessandrini will have a little bit of a crossover run here.
Yeah, setting up the exit here at 10B, such a critical situation here if you want to make a pass. And he's going to have a run. Little slip up there from Schwartz, who had to jump out of the throttle. DJ looks to the inside, and Ealing's going to try to follow through at 1. Try to go down the inside with him, and he will.
Yeah, good move. I think this is a little bit of that co-opetition you always talk about. I don't think Ealing meant to do that at all, and it seems like he's very content to just ride behind Alessandrini and let DJ follow through and make these passes for him. A little bit of an apology in the form of a racing style, saying, hey, I didn't mean this. But hey, for the lead in TCR, Elias Roman has a run.
Under fire. Here we go. Here comes Hausil and Roman into 10B. Roman way later on the brakes, but Hausil on him harder. Thought he could hold him off, but he didn't. Hyundai Elantra to the lead. Roman takes the top spot.
And Hausil needs a good run out to defend from Michael Montello. You know Montello is going to be aggressive and hungry to get this second position to follow Roman, but did not get enough of a run to do so.
And Darian Taggart running 4th in the set. Wow, big lunge from Montello into 1.
Man.
That's going to hurt him on exit. To watch Taggart throttle up. He's going to gain on this group.
That was
Into
a
three.
shocking attempt, honestly. A little bit, I was very optimistic in a corner like that with how these TCRs drives. You can see everyone hopping that turn 3 curb as much as possible. That Porsche battle, maybe not 4 cars at the moment, but Paul Darling has not gotten away from Morgan Burkhardt. Burkhardt has put a gap on Jack Chrissy as the 2 drivers back there, Alessandrini and Huang, start to catch up just a little bit.
Richard Sawicki, got into the back of a car ahead of him, and he ended up in the wall on the entrance to 10A, so he's going to have some damage to repair. You noted the battle between Chrissy. Well, watch this one for 5th. Billings still trying to set up DJ and get this pass complete. All came back to his slip up in turn 5 on the opening lap, and then at 10A into DJ. That's what set these guys back, and they have not been able to recover many positions, maybe just one since. Big line of cars here as they start to work through touring car traffic. It's about to get very busy.
Yeah, business is definitely about to pick up. Darling is going to have to weave through it. Ryan Kristoff, Justin Craig, David Stern, Perez Barzinji in this line as well, as that will help him break the draft from Burkhardt just a little bit. Won't let the driver of the number 2 make any sort of lunge, but I think it'll hurt Burkhardt even more because Chrissy's got to run. Big dive from Maloney. They crash.
Into 10B, right in front of traffic. How do you get out of the way here?
Oh, I think that's going to really hold up Huang a little bit there. They're 3 wide still. This is done.
Yeah, this place is crazy in multi-class, and I was just about to point out before that accident, the braking duel. I mentioned that we'd see some braking challenges with these cup cars alongside the touring cars because of the ABS, and we saw that with that LA Honda World Honda was braking with the same performance as the Porsche Cup cars. That means you can't dive in there and expect to outbrake a touring car. You're just not. Your advantage is going to be on the straightaways effectively only. You won't even have corner speed advantage over them. You have to plan it out right. It's the 13 car of David Stern. And here's DJ setting him up for the exit. He'll drive right by, but he wouldn't be able to do that on corner entry.
No, definitely not, as he got a big advantage there. Elan Huang, I keep mispronouncing that, excuse me, but he lost a lot of time to Alessandrini. They were seeming to work together a little bit there, but now Alessandrini on his own, and he's got a long way to go now to get the Morgan Burkhardt, as those top 2 really got away as a result of that.
Top 3 in touring car still up the road. They have yet to get lapped. Contact. Ken Alseal spins. Can he save it? Front wheel drive, get back in the throttle, and he will, and through comes Heidechek and Taggart to second. Roman scampers away.
And that was Montello and Montello and Halcyon once again coming together. I don't know how that wasn't a bigger deal than what it was. Montello has huge front-end damage because, as we'll take a look at the replay, they kind of came together for the same piece of real estate on corner entry here.
Yeah, I think Montello just got in here a bit too hot right here, too late, and just tags Ken. And remember, Montello, the last couple of weeks, has been involved in collisions up front, so he is under the ire of the race control. Well, here comes Darling and Burkhardt past the 85. This is wild. This is probably one of the craziest races I've seen at this track in years.
And that was passing the battle for 8th in TCR with Trent McMillan and Adam Kobach. We haven't talked about Kobach a lot either, but now they're bumper to bumper going for this race lead through the race leading traffic up ahead.
They just separated themselves. Paul thinks about it, but he thought better of it. Burkhardt's going to try to line him up. But see, Paul can't outbrake these touring cars at this area of the racetrack. It has to be on the backstretch. Now they throttle up and should be able to complete the lap traffic pretty easily now. But Burkhardt's going to have a run into 10A.
And he'll definitely, I think, have a shot at him here if he wants it. If he wants to be aggressive, he'll have a shot. See him gaining. He'll swoop left if he really wants it. But they have to swoop left to pass the lap traffic, so know where to really go to make that move. That's kind of an important part of this track. If you catch him at a bad time, you won't have a shot to have a look for the lead.
This is your battle for the top spot, the overall lead here in the 992 Cup cars. Just 0.2 of a second between them, and it's even closer for second in touring car. Heidechek on Taggart, who throws the block on him into turn 1.
And a little bit of a block there. He'll come a crossover from Heidechek here. Tough to do that on the entry to 3, but they'll go side by side. Taggart tried to shut him off. It's going to go way wide. Heidechek throws it into 3. There's contact.
And Taggart gets shuffled off course. Here comes Wong and Alessandrini past. DJ's not waiting around. Gilling's going to get held up there.
Gilling will get held up. Just got to wait till the exit. Get the driver's left, maybe really tight there, but able to do so. I am sure Taggart will not be happy about that contact from Heidechek, but I guess Heidechek saw the gap. There's going to be contact for the overall lead as well.
Burkhardt was there, but he slipped. He had the left side tires on the grass, turning into 7, trying to widen that out. And Darling was able to scamper away, throttle up, and just dispatch himself for a moment. But this is going to get so interesting. We're not even 10 minutes, well, just past 10 minutes into this race. 12 minutes in, here comes Burkhardt. Stays in line into the braking zone.
I think they're starting to see Allison Girini bear down on these two as well. They might have to work together to keep the 61 and the 32 away from them for this race for the win, because these two are all alone right now.
There's first and second, and third is just behind Alessandrini. Morgan Burkhardt still tucked up behind this 155. How long do you wait before you have to go?
We got plenty of time left. We're still just under a half an hour to go, just over it, excuse me. So plenty of time to make that move, but you don't really want to sit in dirty air to wear the tires out a little bit more than the race leader. At any point, Paul Darling can start pulling away, and you would have given away your chance to take that lead back. So you cannot wait too long. Can't be too patient here.
Ryan Carwile, whoop, there goes the 34 Porsche up the inside. Ken Ausil just got by Heidechek for second place. They are 5 seconds back behind Elias Roman now. They've got plenty of race time left to run him back down, but they need to get coordinated here and just get lucky with traffic, because there's 5 TCRs on top of each other for second place as Chrissy takes a swipe at Schwartz. That's for 5th in class.
Oh, Olivier Piatek almost got trapped there, but he'll get through. But Chrissy's still here trying to make this move work. He got held up in that incident in 10A as well. Puts him back to that 6th position. John Schwartz, just a very solid and clean race so far, up 4 positions from his starting position. He actually just came over to radio saying he will give that position to Chrissy likely in a little bit.
Darian Taggart tucking in behind Heidechek. And now we're getting the field split up just a bit. It's going to turn into that conveyor belt where it's just pretty much constant traffic. There's enough cars out here to keep you busy. You're not going to get a lot of time or a lot of breath to just lap without having to contend with traffic. It's going to be very busy from here on out the next 31 minutes, which is the length of a typical race here in this championship. So there's the battle for the touring car second spot. Here's the battle for the lead once again. Darling Burkhardt, and quickly approaching, half a second better last time by, was DJ Alessandrini.
Look who was a little bit faster than DJ Alessandrini is Yiling Huang. By about 3.5 tenths of a second, he was faster than Alessandrini. Obviously, that slipstream will help, but both these drivers are going to be back to the race lead in just a few laps' time, I would say.
We knew it was going to be possible for them to make it back. I thought they might collect themselves in some lap traffic contact at some point because of how aggressive they were being, but now that they've got some clear road, at least for a moment, they can focus on just running clean laps. Now, I think if Alessandrini stays in front of Wong, I think they have the potential to come back together and end up behind these drivers again. So maybe that's what Burkhardt and Darling are going to hope for, is a bit more drama between those two.
Yeah, definitely potential for it, but I don't think they want to throw away a good battle once again, as Chrissy's going to go drivers left into 10A. That battle for 5th is ongoing, and Chrissy will take that away. Oh, big slide. Thought he was about to spin it, but even with that massive rear end damage, he's able to get by John Schwartz.
Got it done, up to 5th.
See how tucked in it is. It is Talas Sadiq in 7th as well. Just sat there through all this chaos. I know Talas Sadiq has not moved from 7th.
Everyone's moved around him. The center of the solar system tonight. And still has a battle to catch. Touring cars are, at least most of their battles are somewhat calming down. Here's Ryan Kristoff, 46th. Faris Barzinji in the number 125, just ahead of him. That's a battle for 11th place. And Ryan in one of the Audis. Not a ton of those represented in the field. This is the DSG Audi, the one that does not have a clutch pedal and has the road-going transmission in the car, and thus has some strange gear ratios that take a little bit to get used to, but once you're used to them, they're not all that strange. Here's Morgan Burkhardt right back on the lead for Paul Darling.
Meanwhile, Yiling Huang just got by Alessandrini for 3rd place, so that battle's continued. Huang, he had the run in the turn 10, and they got very close, door to door once again, but very clean, no contact that time, and 32 is back up into the podium and charging for that race lead.
See if DJ's going to go into the inside in turn 1. Is he going to wait? Yes. I thought he might throw a move down there to the inside. He might have used up his only opportunity, though, on Wong into the first corner. Tried to get him to take the bait. He did not.
Yeah, kind of surprised he didn't try it, but at the same time, I don't think that would have been a move that was going to work very well.
Trouble, second place.
Oh.
TCR, Hydacek gets knocked off course by Kenau Seal. And let's see what happened there. That was just being squeezed at the apex there. Didn't quite get enough space from Hydacek, and contact with Hausil sends him off track into 6th.
It was very tight, but really no contact. Trying to see what battles are happening. Richard Sawicki, even with his front end damage, him and Deacon Greenfield are going side by side for 12th in the background.
Oh, and they spin.
They just spun.
Right in front of the Atlanta Speedworks Honda, and they're going to tag the 25 legitimate racing car as well.
That is crushing for McMillian. He had nowhere to go in that. Another driver, David Stern, has to get around him. Kind of saw that coming. They were battling hard the last few laps.
Yeah,
that kind of reminds me. Yeah.
Got turned there, and then the 43. Oh man, that's tough.
The overall race lead for IMSA last year. Kind of the same thing into turn number 1.
For the lead, here comes Burkhardt on the outside. He's going to try the crossover at 1. Wong is just 2.5 back. Alessandrini's 2/10 behind him, so it's still fierce.
Alessandrini has a run, though. Oh, he didn't go for it because of the TCR, but Alessandrini's shoving him into turn number 3. They did make a little contact there, but I think Burkhardt's seeing the message that he has to go now. Paul Darling will sit in front of him to the very end if he's not careful, and even then, Yiling Huang will catch both of them. So I think he's finally realizing he's got to go at some point.
Yeah, you know, and we've done this multi-class format all season, and it hasn't really tripped up Yiling or DJ so much, but this racetrack is so challenging to manage traffic, especially with these two cars paired together, these two classes. So that's the wild card here, is this racetrack is a much more formidable threat to these drivers just going out there and lapping cleanly and smoothly. They have to think smart, they have to be on their toes, but they're just getting crossed up and tangled with each other all night long. Here's Burkhardt for the lead into 10-8, sits on it again.
Just a little bit too much pressure from traffic on corner entry.
He
Oh, he's going to spin!
And get tagged by the 56 of Felix Borodati. And all of a sudden, that very tight lead battle is now over in the Porsches.
Now it's a completely different mindset for Paul Darling. He's just got to set clean laps on his own and try to stay ahead of those two as we see what happened. Just a little bit awkward here, getting checked up and hit the bumper. A little iRacing bad luck there, I would say.
I think he took a strange bounce off the curbing, and that helped unsettle the car. Here's Olivier Piatek in the 34. We've seen him in the Full Send Sims Racing League on Tuesday nights, typically in a Spec Miata platform. Won some awards in that series this season. Is chasing Ryan Maloney for 8th in class.
Still trying to chase him. Trying to get through all these guys. Still trying to get through the S's. His battle for second now won't go away. Alessandrini let Yiling by, but not letting him go very easily as they both catch Paul Darling.
The run that Yiling gets off the corner. He's just able to put so much power down, but the draft, look how powerful it is. DJ's going to get sucked right up to the rear wing of this Porsche ahead of him, and he's going to go for it. I don't think he would sit on this very long. He knows he's got to go, but no, he's going to sit on it. I thought he would make the pass, but he didn't.
A little bit of a bump draft there as he'll sit in line once again. They actually did lose a decent amount of time, lap time-wise, to Paul Darling last time by. I think just because they were mixing it up a little bit, might be a better representation of how much they're going to catch up, but
yeah, DJ's going to take this. He's got to take this. Through the middle, three wide.
Yeah, you can't sit on that. You have to take a big run like that, but Hung back to the inside. Alessandrini will cross him over to get drivers right into turn 3.
That was fantastic. Over, under, took the elevator to the ground floor, into turn 3, side by side. Very tight there. Who's going to give?
Well, someone's got to give. Whoever's in Trent McMillian's line is going to have to give, but they'll stay door to door. Alessandrini hopped the curb there. They're going to hit again. They somehow didn't, and they won't catch McMillian in time. McMillian's off right in front. Alessandrini's wide.
Almost got into the fence. I could not believe that he didn't wad that thing up there at the exit of 5. Wow.
Oh my gosh, that was crazy. Yeah, I'll say, and that's the battle for about 11th in class right in front of him, Justin Craig and Lex Kiricek. Oh my gosh, that was the same thing Yiling Huang did lap 1 as well. They've both done that now, and this has let Paul Darling take an even bigger gap.
Yeah, so now, I mean, there's no point in working together. You're not going to be able to with the traffic interfering, so you just got to go. I don't think this battle's over quite yet. If Yiling gets one more bad traffic holdup here like this, DJ might be able to more effectively dispatch this 125. I don't think we've seen the last of this just yet.
I wouldn't think so either. The good news for these two, and this is not a 30-minute race. We'd be about
13 minutes, about 10 minutes away?
8 minutes away maybe from wrapping it up. But they got plenty of time to get this 6-second gap down to nothing to still catch Paul Darling. I'm sure Paul Darling wishes it was still a 30-minute race, but he's still got a very good gap to work with. He can still take his time and not be too aggressive with lap traffic, but it's going to hurt when it's Eddie Keterakis in the same class as you.
Paul Darling's led 16 laps in this race of the 17 that we have run. Elias Roman's led 10 in TCR. Ken Houseel has led 6. Now that battle's also interesting. Ken is chipping away at Elias Roman's lead in touring cars. So let's not count Ken out just yet.
Log jam and turn 7 down there. Got a car wide. That was John Schwartz from 6th, and that's gonna maybe let Talas Sadiq take that position. In fact, it did.
Back and have a look at it. This is into turn 7, as you mentioned. Got it stuck on the outside of a couple of touring cars and got shuffled off track. And yes, Talas Sadiq through to 6th.
That was Lex Karachak, who's also battling for position with Justin Craig still. In fact, that battle's active in the turn 10A. He's way deep under braking. Here comes a big crossover. What a move, but they're going to make more contact, even more. It's not giving anyone some corner exit space.
Here comes McMillian up the inside. I'll have one, thanks.
Also turn the lights on, that's good. Maloney trying to come through as well.
Slicing and dicing, and halfway through this race, 21 minutes to go. Paul Darling leads the way in the 992 Cup class by 4.6 over Iling Hung, who just took a 1.5 seconds out of his lead last time by and distanced himself from Alessandrini, who runs 3rd.
Alessandrini might not be in that slipstream anymore, and that might take him out of contention for this win unless some traffic can get him back to Ealing. Oh, spin, that will do it. Eddie Keterakis spun right in front of Ealing, and that will get him right back into that slipstream.
Yeah, 6/10 back. I was going to say the traffic is a huge piece of this equation, and right in front of Ealing. Just a slow, lazy spin there, and that's a gift that DJ cannot give up. If DJ sat on a pass into 10A a couple of laps ago, and I couldn't figure out why he would do that, and I don't think he understood why either, because he just got distanced and gapped. He's got to get back ahead of Ealing as soon as he can and play defense rather than offense, because Ealing is going to smash him on offense tonight.
Yeah. Definitely, I think the right decision would be to just go for it. You're not at the point in the race where you can really lay back. This is really close to the final third of the race, so no attack, no chance, as Takuma Sato says. He's got to attack at this point. He won't have a chance at winning.
More traffic into the S's. This is DJ's opportunity to close this gap the rest of the way. To the inside of the Hyundai. Ealing's not waiting around. Very tight there. DJ, he's going to try to swing to the outside. And that was an aggressive pass, but he had to make it stick. Now he's stuck on the outside through 5, and he's in the gravel.
And once again, that gap's going to open up, and Ealing Hung might be out of draft range, but that was an important move for Hung. He knew Alessandrini would have a tough time around the exit around the outside of 5, and look at the gap he pulled out here just from Alessandrini not being online.
Yeah, that was 1.3 seconds that he was able to redistance himself. But it's just the ebb and flow of this multi-class racing at this track with these cars. Just the slightest holdup is seconds.
Justin Craig just got wrecked into turn number 5. He and Nathan Brackman came together before they even got to the entry of 5.
Let's have a look at it. Oh, nose to tail. They both crashed. Classic spin-off course into the gravel. Didn't get into the fence, though, so they should be able to continue. Maloney on Schwartz for 7th in Porsches.
They have been battling a little bit as well. Maloney's still trying to recover from being a part of that incident as well. John Schwartz is dropping back a little bit. He was 5th after all that chaos. This would be to drop back to 8th if he can't hold on, but he will keep it around the outside into turn number 1 just barely. You see Maloney tries to dive it back down. He won't have the opportunity to.
3 wide there for a moment as they slid past the touring car. Good battles there. Elias Roman, his lead is dwindling. 5 seconds still, but Houseel is taking bigger chunks out of that. Last time by, over 1.2 seconds. He was able to climb.
And behind him, Darian Taggart took an even bigger chunk out of it. He was half a second faster than House Eel, so he could still be into this if it comes down to it. Also, Mike Montello, even with a big front end damage, he's still lingering.
Yeah, damage from that collision earlier in the night with class leaders. Only 4 cars out of this race, so still 34 on track. Tala Sadiq is slow in the 26. Let's see what happened to him.
Ooh, Eli Hung just got held up by Don Manning, but we'll see what Sadiq did. He had a great run going. Oh, overcorrect.
Held up a lot by Don Manning. Here comes Alessandrini down the hill. Here we go again. This is an epic fight.
Yeah, I thought that was less than it was, but it was a lot more. But where will Alessandrini go? Elias Roman, class leader, just up ahead of these two. Here comes another crossover. Can't do it. Hit the curb.
Yeah, he tried to line that up. Drilled the curb, slowed him down. Class leader here. Illing mid-corner. Big lock up there. Here comes DJ. He's going to go to the outside. Are we going to do side-by-side down the S's? Not quite.
Oh, they will with the Roman. Roman's just going to get out of the way. He's going to lose a lot of time with his race lead because of that, though. We'll have to monitor that. But Alessandrini got, once again, another gift to stay with the 32.
This has just been an all-out, just bare-knuckle brawl between these two tonight.
Only took a rare mistake to do it, but take him how you can get him as a consumer of racing.
Grip level coming up as well. They're working up the tires, but the track temp is falling with the sun getting lower in the sky. The slipstream on these cars, I wonder if Illing's running a higher downforce setup than DJ, because the slipstream has just been so immense. I don't normally think these cars have all that much. NA on the brakes, not quite close enough.
See if you can do anything out of 10B. Don't think you'll really be able to, as they get the run down the hill. Not gaining nearly enough as what they need to on Paul Darling. The traffic is, they're just not hitting it as well as they need to. That gap's back up over 7 seconds. It's looking more and more likely this could just be a battle for second, barring anything crazy.
I mean, individually they've got the pace to run down Darling, but together they are both hurting each other. But their focus is on each other. There's no way they're running Darling down at this stage. That might have been DJ's goal earlier by staying in line with Illing, but as soon as Illing got stuck in the traffic, DJ couldn't sit on it, reignited the embers of the battle they had earlier in the race, and since then they've just fallen down relative to Darling. But DJ doesn't have the pace to quite stick with Illing. It's going to take traffic to be the catalyst there.
Well, we still got Morgan Burkhardt trying to recover after maybe Hillis spin. He's actually battling with Jack Chrissy for 4th. In fact, he got held up pretty badly as well. Chrissy will be there, maybe into 10A.
Yeah, both these cars also had tons of pace and were running top 3 earlier. Off the podium spots at the moment. Two tenths. Let's see what Chrissy can make up on Burkhardt here on the straightaway to see if that draft is co-requisite with what we've seen with the 32 and the 61 up in 2nd and 3rd. And it's a pretty big toe tonight. Whoa! Oh man,
that's not going to work.
Miscalculated. Morgan's going to lock it up and somehow keeps it on the road. Well done.
That was incredible, and Chrissy immediately apologized. Didn't mean to do that. A little bit of front end damage mixed with a little bit of rear end damage. It kind of looked like the same thing we saw in TCR, where it seemed like Montello wanted to go up the outside and the gap closed. It looked like the exact same collision.
Yeah, you just don't have any recourse. There's no ABS to lean on in these cars, so once you make a mistake and you brake too late, you're along for the ride. Oh, trouble. John Schwartz into TCR traffic, and around he will go into turn 1. That was the 11 of Brackman that he just went up the inside, and I don't think he quite had the overlap to go for that move. Let's have a look from up high.
Closing rate was big.
Yeah, you can't just drive the car down the inside like that. You got to let the guy turn in at some point. So should have waited, but again, it's such a challenging decision to make in the moment. So that's what's going to happen all night long.
I don't think he expected the TCR to cut back in after letting another Porsche by. But either way, the contact happened. Battle for second and overall. Battle for second overall still going on. But Alessandrini losing a little bit to Illing, just not able to really challenge this time.
He's got pace on Illing in traffic, but not out in front of it.
Paul Darling went into the grass a little bit, even though he's on his own. He's still pushing pretty hard. The gap came down about a half a second that lap, but running out of laps to be able to do that, you're going to have to make up probably more than half a second per lap.
And then in touring cars, Elias Roman, 4.3 seconds is the gap. It's still coming down. It hasn't come down all that quickly, though. especially with Ken dealing with some traffic. But I don't think we're quite done with this battle just yet. We'll keep our eyes on it in case it gets spicy again. Then Louis Alessi, David Stern back here for 11th. Two Hondas running nose to tail.
That slipstream will just not be strong enough to carry David Stern up there, just like it would be in the Porsche class.
Yeah, these cars don't have quite as much. They have a lot of aero, but they're also very draggy cars. So they just don't have the horsepower to overcome their drag, even in the slipstream.
Once again, the past few laps, they're still 3/4 tenths faster than Paul Darling. Just not going to have time at the front. Kind of the same thing in TCR class, kind of the same situation, just one less car chasing down the race leader. Although Darian Taggart is still hanging around Halcyon, not quite close enough to really be in that fight to catch Elias Roman. Oh, and Halcyon is going to get doored a little by John Schwartz in the background. That probably didn't help either.
A little understeer on exit. Well, Alessandrini right behind Hung, and there's more traffic ahead. So here we go again. This is going to hold up Ealing mid-corner. Here comes DJ with a big run, but he had to also just steer hard right. There have been so many opportunities that just where the traffic lines up is what's brewing these battles. Without the traffic, Ealing's gone.
You could also probably say that about the mistake in 5 and a mistake in 10A on lap 1. Could be a completely different race, but I guess you could say it was a matter of time. No one's perfect, and neither is Ealing Hung. Just one mistake turned into another mistake, and maybe a little bit spiraled after that. Even still, through all that, he's still likely to get a podium.
Jack Chrissy taking a swipe at Burkhardt past some traffic in TCR.
See if he can perfect this move into 10A a little bit better this time.
The 2 was slightly off the apex. So fast on this back straightaway, 165 miles an hour. $11 minutes to go. Battle for second and a battle for fourth, all still brewing in the 992 Cups. And as far as the touring cars, the closest fight right now is for sixth. Ryan Carwile and Adam Koback. Carwile way wide out of 5.
But kept a good run because of it. Used the pavement out there to his advantage. Used the curbing a little bit as well to get a better run out than Koback. Koback's closed in. Last few laps, not able to really make any sort of challenge quite yet. This is kind of Carwile's game. Very consistent. Just a little bit of a off-roading action down the S's.
Yeah, Lex Kiricek going for a pretty big moment there. That's a high-velocity area in touring car. We don't have a lot of steering input to throw at it. Big traffic here for second place in the 992 Cups. What's DJ going to do?
Could be it. He could dive low. He chose not to. A little surprised by that. He could have he's going to have a big shot here.
Here it is.
Hung gave a bump. Here
3 wide and onto the right. Still 3 wide, splitting the difference here. DJ's going to have to go to the middle this time.
Oh, man. And that hurt him. He was going to have the run, but he's going to have to get back in line. That killed his momentum.
This has just been a wild, wild race. Past Ryan Kristoff now, braking zone 10A. Ealing's not going to go for it. DJ's going to set him up for the exit. Kristoff's off.
Kristoff's off.
He just bails out. Knew better of that than to turn back on course.
Adam Koback we were just looking at Koback. He went wide as well. He was off behind those guys.
And it's not over yet. Still almost 10 minutes of racing to go.
Nowhere close to over, even though Paul Darling probably wishes it was, because the agony is probably hurting him more than the actual track is.
For some drivers, this will feel like the shortest race of the season. For others, it's going to feel like it's taken forever. This is not over. Not over.
Oh, it will never be over. Oh, big bump there. Really stuck behind Nathan Brackman here.
Look
just
out!
going to shove him. And here goes Alessandrini.
Finally, past Ealing Hung for second place, but can he hang on to it? Traffic was the catalyst, as we expected. He's got the position he wanted, but now can he defend it?
Ealing Hung's got the elbows out today, contacted numerous spots tonight, all the way throughout this race, and we'll see how that slipstream helps him out. Like you said, he might have a little bit more downforce. Richard Sawicki off in the background, but it's all clean there. That downforce might hurt him as far as drafting up to DJ.
Yeah, these cars just might be draggier than I remember them. He's pulling up pretty quick.
Have a big run.
Now is DJ going to go defensive? He will not. He's going to let Ealing go to the inside. Neither of them have enough braking ability to go alongside each other into that corner and have any kind of advantage. They're at the limit. They can't break any later than they're breaking there.
No, definitely not. There's still numerous battles around the track, but none more volatile than this one all day long.
This one's pretty interesting. This is for 7th, just ahead of that group we were just watching. Now roles reversed. DJ leading the pack into the S's. This is what makes this track so much fun in multi-class as a spectator, maybe not as a driver.
Looks like Huang's going to do the smart thing, just follow DJ through, know where he can go. They'll be trapped behind Lewis Alessi this time, though. We'll see, it might be the same situation. DJ backed the corner up, though, very smart. Oh, no! And Alessandrini's crashed.
Oh, man. And he did everything right there. He planned it perfect. And he was not counting on the touring car losing control ahead of him. That is frustrating.
That is just... I think that's a sign to say this wasn't your race, DJ.
Yeah. Wasn't Illings either. I think that's what he was going to be disappointed about, is he had the opportunity to steal one. And now no pressure to Huang, so it's going to make his last 6 or so laps a lot less stressful.
And that will give give us another battle for podium position.
Right, Maloney in 7th. Contact here with Adam Kobach.
Oh. Odd one. Odd corner for it, too.
Yeah, 6 isn't one that you typically see a lot of crashes like that.
There's a battle for 8th. Olivier Piatek, and that's John Schwartz, who's been in some action himself. That's for 8th, I believe. Yeah,
Piatek in the 34 and Schwartz in the 40. You're right, for 8th place.
I'll tell you what, Ken Alciel, he's not there, but he's gotten bigger in the mirror almost every other lap. I just think he's going to need 10 more minutes to get him, though.
We will see what's on tap here in the final 6.5 minutes of this race. It has been a frantic, wild one. I already know how the drivers are going to feel about this one, Connor. They're going to be mad and frustrated and walk out of here tired and sweating, but this is the kind of stuff that puts on a really entertaining show, if not, maybe the most clean and fair fights that you've seen all season long. But that's what Road Atlanta Multiclass will give you, especially with 2 cars that do everything so incredibly different. When we come here in prototypes and GT3s and things like that, those cars have advantages pretty much everywhere. Porsche Cups and touring cars do a lot of the same things as far as cornering and braking is concerned, and that's where our challenges have been today.
Yeah, we've seen those challenges really showcased. There's almost some contact there, Chrissy and Shoemaker, but it has definitely been just a showcase of action and very good driving ability from numerous drivers today. And it's kind of let some other drivers shine compared to what we've seen most of the season, especially Paul Darling, who's looking to run away with this one almost for sure. And I don't remember if I mentioned it, but that did give us a podium battle between Burkhardt and Chrissy, as Alessandrini slipped behind both of them pretty far. I don't think DJ will be able to get back to these two.
No, he's running slower lap times as well, too. I think he realizes that this race is lost. Not much you can make up in the final 5. So it will be between Chrissy and Burkhardt, and the same situation. It's going to come down to traffic, I'm sure. It's thinned out about as much as it's going to thin out, though. So you got to take your advantages where you can get them. 5 minutes left on the board, about 4 laps for Paul Darling. Where is he? He's weaving through touring cars in the backstretch with a 10-second lead. And he got this lead way back at the start of the race when the leaders got together at 10B.
And then I believe it was him and, trying to see, who was he battling with? Burkhardt?
Burkhardt and Christie.
Yeah, then they both kind of had their issues and went wide. Now he's just got to manage traffic just a little bit longer to maintain this win. Same thing you could say for Elias Roman. That gap did come back down a little bit to about 3 seconds, but like I said, I just think Alciel's going to run out of time. He might have only needed maybe 2 more laps, as Lex Kiricek is going to be in a battle for this spot with Faraz Barzinji. This might be about 10th in class.
It's for 9th, yep, and had an overlap on him into 7, just couldn't complete it. 40 of Schwartz goes through. Less and less red on my timing screen, which means less and less battles for position, which means that the intensity has fallen slightly just as we're closing in on the finish of this race. Yiling Hung has closed in on Darling just a touch, but 9 seconds. It would take an act of God to steal this one from Paul Darling, or just badly timed traffic. That's probably the more likely of the two. But Paul has just not put a fender wrong most of this race.
Yeah, he's done really solid keeping the nose clean, and that's definitely why he's up to a 10-second lead. Just keeping the nose clean, staying out of the trouble that was in behind him has definitely kept him as a part of this. Oh, Barzinji and Kiricek just came together.
Oh.
Kiricek into the tire barrier.
Yeah, I'll say. Ouch.
About the 5th front bumper we've lost. He'll just reset and call it a night.
Yeah, this is going off into 3. Kiricek on the inside just was never going to make the corner, and bam, over.
Yeah, net never going to work. Too wide. We saw it work maybe once tonight. That's just very, almost nearly impossible to do that. So no surprise to see that contact happen.
Morgan Burkhardt is doing a great job holding off Chrissy. I've been very impressed with Jack tonight. Started this race in 3rd, almost had 2nd place, was stolen late in qualifying by DJ Alessandrini. And had he not had a bit of a run-in and a spin with Morgan earlier in the race, I think he still could have been battling up there with Paul for the win. But it all just came down to circumstantial situations tonight. Now the closest fight is for 2nd in the touring cars. 3 seconds back from Elias Roman is Ken Ausiel, Darian Taggart, and Michael Montello.
And Taggart just not able to get to Ausiel for position. Same thing, Montello to Taggart. And Trent McMillan just trying to catch them both. Montello just had a big kind of drift into there just a little bit, but he kept it straight. These guys not really close enough to work together draft-wise, and it's just because of the battling they did earlier, let Elias Roman get away. Also, the contact of Heidechek kind of split this up as well and gave Elias Roman a gap that he probably needed to close this one out.
Paul Darling sweeps through the start-finish line. 2 laps to go. Minute and 45 left on the clock. And battles for position are reduced down to just Burkhardt and Chrissy, a second between them, and then that aforementioned battle for 2nd in touring cars that's separated by about half a second apiece from Ausiel, Taggart, and Montello.
Ausiel is just going to be, oh, we got a car off on 1. That's Louis Alessi. Just see him there. There he is.
Yep.
Looks like just a self-spin, I would think. No damage done.
Yeah, right there.
Yep.
You see it. Just walk on him. And he was fresh out of the pits, too, after coming in after the contact. I think I was with DJ. He was the car that was involved in that collision.
Yes.
And so he had cold tires, and cold tires on the TCRs. You have trouble getting temperature into the rears, and that's when you get those slippy and slidey moments. And you intentionally set the car up to rotate because they don't otherwise. Here's the battle for 3rd, Taggart and Montello. This is probably the only opportunity that we could have to flip up the script here on the podiums in either class. White flag in the air as Paul Darling comes down the hill. 1 lap to go. 2.5 miles is the distance he has left to travel. As Taggart and Montello, they're also going to get that same 2.5 miles. Montello's got a chance to make up a spot here.
It's going to be really tough with the damage hurting him. No slipstream anyways, but especially not gaining here. He pushed, but he didn't really lose as much as I thought he would. He just got to keep that up a little bit more. Ed Harris might play a factor in this battle as well.
They've still got an entire lap left to go. Paul Darling works his way off into turn 6. And what a race it has been for Darling. Started 5th.
Ausiel went wide. Sorry. Ausiel went wide. Taggart might have a shot at him here now.
He sure will. This will be a brawl to the end.
Have to be on his bumper out of turn number, turn 7.
Oh, big mistake there by Ken. Took too much curb. Carried okay speed. We'll check back in on that one as Paul Darling has some traffic left to contend with, but he picked his way through it tonight. Picked and chose his battles at the right times. Was able to outlast everyone else as they fought, battled, and banged for position. Paul Darling out of turn 12, down the hill the last time. Checkered flag. The 992 Cup category goes to Paul Darling. For Elias Roman, he's a little ways from home. For 3rd place, though, here comes Montello on Taggart.
And Montello is going to have a shot in the 10 here. He's right on the bumper. We might see a big dive here once again.
Checkered flag waving. Wong, 2nd place. And here's the lunge from Montello on Taggart. Oh. Taggart doesn't give him the room. Crossover,
though. Here he goes.
Contact.
What a move.
Montello's through into third. He got him, made the pass. Michael Montello, podium. And Taggart chucks it into the wall there to try to grab that spot back. He could not do it. Ken House-Seal comes home second. Elias Roman, your winner in the touring car class.
Yeah, great job for our winners. Darling dominant after avoiding the chaos. Same thing for Elias Rowan. He just got away from the chaos at the right time and was able to hold on. House-Seal tried. House-Seal gets a bump there afterwards. But, big win. Elias Roman, very fast tonight, no doubt.
Yeah, last couple drivers finishing up here on the lead lap. Ryan Kristoff, how about a good, decent night for him? Managed to stay out of the dramas for the most part. 14th up to 8th in class. Sure, he'll take that. Indeed, he will.
He has to take it. He's the last one coming through, isn't he?
Two more, Ferris Barzingi and Adam Kobach, last runners on the road.
And Francois Brew even behind that, but a very, very fun race. This track is something else.
It is. It's wild. Here's a look at your race results. Paul Darling, Yiling Hong, Morgan Burkhardt, your top three, but that does not tell the full story.
No, it definitely doesn't. Yiling Hong, Alessandrini, great battle all night long. It took traffic to separate them once and for all, and Paul Darling was able to separate from all of them because of it. Maloney recovered to 7th, Schwartz 8th, Kevin Zhu, we didn't talk about Jay Robinson a lot, but he was able to at least get 10th out of it. Tal Sadiq had a little spin, and he was able to pretty much be the most consistent driver tonight besides Paul Darling. He ends up 6th after starting 7th.
Yeah, and look down the rest of the order here in the Porsche 992 Cup class, and then in the touring cars, Elias Roman was able to grab it. Ken House-Seal, Michael Montello, Darian Taggart, Wojtek Heidecek, they also were a bit of a revolving door of positions throughout the night. And here's a look down the rest of it. Trent McMillan we saw involved in a couple of collisions, just trying to get out of the way a couple times. Here's a list of some drivers that had some bad nights. David Graver, Anthony Montello, James Cathers, I don't even think took the green. So that is your finishing order. Let's talk with Michael Montello, third in class in the touring cars, and with a last lap lunge and a crossover at turn number 10B. Line it up, stole a third. Take us through your night, Michael. It was wild out there.
Yeah, that took a lot of concentration. I'm just surprised I made it to the end of that. We had a really good battle in the beginning with Elias and Ken, and then had a little bump going into the last couple of corners with Ken, and that split us from Elias, and we never saw him again. But then after that, it was a crazy battle to the finish with a huge part of the field all stacked together.
Yeah, it was certainly a lot of fun to watch. The multi-class interactions tonight obviously were challenging. Take us through some of the challenges of running a touring car against some Porsche Cups. They're very different and do a lot of things differently from each other that make it hard to run side by side.
Yeah, it can be tricky, especially into the really heavy braking zones, because they have such a massive overspeed that they might think they might be able to get past you or alongside you, but sometimes they end up bunching up at the apex, and I saw that happen to both myself and a bunch of other people in front of me just kind of get backed up that way. Otherwise, honestly, this track wasn't too bad because at least they had like a mile and a half on the back straight just to clear by us, but could be better, could be worse.
Wild stuff. Michael Montello, third place tonight in his Hyundai Elantra, the number 65. Michael, thanks.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thank you. And Ken House-Seal was second tonight and does not tell the whole story. Wow, what a night, what a chase, trying to run down Elias after some contact earlier in the race. Some argy-bargy, as Calvin would call it, Ken, but this was a wild one. I'm sure it felt that way from the driver's seat. It certainly looked like it from the broadcast booth.
Yeah, I am pretty heated. I swear none of these Porsches know how to make a pass. I mean, the entire time it was like I'd get one clean lap, next lap I'm losing a second to Elias because the Porsches just push me wide in dumb places. Like, come on, guys, just have patience or learn how to pass. The racecraft tonight was infuriating. And then, I don't know, I haven't come back and looked at what happened with Michael, but if I caused it, I'm sorry, I don't know. But and then whatever happened with Wally, again, that looked like netcode. I don't think I touched him, but otherwise, man, I am pretty mad.
Yeah, it seems like this racetrack in multi-class scenarios is especially challenging. But also the touring cars and the Porsche Cup, they don't seem to have a big mid-corner speed difference, especially in the lower speed corners. So it seemed like, passes were getting forced in the S's or into 10A and 10B that just couldn't happen. So just getting offline in these cars especially is hard because your front tires are already very busy. So is that the challenge of these, is just getting alongside another car mid-corner when you weren't expecting it? It's just hard to keep it on track?
Yeah, and the Porsche's making passes where like you said, they don't have the corner speed in the slower corners, so it's like they're just diving in there and then pretty much stopping in front of us or next to us, and like I said, just bleeding a second away every time it happens. And it's like it would hurt them less if they just waited a split second. Like, come on, guys, I'm trying to leave you space, but you can't. Just, man, attend some racecraft lessons or something. It is not good.
Wild night for Ken Ausiel, second place in the number 23. Ken, thanks for talking.
Yeah, thanks. See you guys next week.
See ya. Elias Roman, your winner in the touring car class, and we just talked to Ken and Michael running in behind you, Elias, and Michael seemed like he was having a good night. Ken was frustrated. It's the traffic tonight was the story of it all. Multi-class with the Porsches and the touring cars, Elias. What was it like from your perspective? Thankfully, most of the touring cars were in your rear view most of the night, but Porsches everywhere.
You know that meme that's like everything's fine and everything is on fire? That's what I felt like when the TCRs were trying to pass me, particularly between turn 1 and turn 5 down the S's. I was really trying to position my car to kind of give a signal like, hey, don't try it, and they still did it anyways. Yeah, regarding, I guess, frustration and happiness, the last 2 races, just unfortunate things happened, either from my own doing or just bad shenanigans happening, so it was really important for me to come out swinging this one and at least get a podium as a good result. But yeah, happy I got the win just by making aggressive moves early when the tires were still cold.
Well, job well done, Elias. Great points night as well, and surviving the chaos here is key. So congrats, and we'll see you next week.
Cool. Thank you, guys. Have a good night.
Thank you. And DJ Alessandrini finished the race in 5th. And normally we don't talk to people outside of the podium, but DJ, what a crazy night. I mean, we had to talk to you with that battle with Illing and just back and forth and mistakes and slips and slides and lap traffic, and Road Atlanta never disappoints from a show perspective. DJ, I bet the heart rate is very high, or was very high in the moment.
Only because of my rage, Kyle. I'm not a happy.
I wouldn't expect it.
I don't know how TCA cars are spinning on exit, but like, what are we doing?
Yeah, I mean, some of the touring car drivers were complaining about the Porsches too, which as a broadcaster, this is the entertainment factor for me. But I mean, I was wondering the same question. But you had a great battle there with Illing, but you guys had contact earlier, fell back in the pack, looked like you're going to run Paul back down, then got caught in traffic, and then just pandemonium. So how challenging was it out there just to carve through the traffic?
I don't. Ealing's not very good in the traffic. He doesn't give himself runs, and he like stacks himself up behind cars and stuff. So at some point I was like, we're not catching Paul. So I was just like, all right, this is the fight for second. So that's what you saw happening on screen. I think I had a legitimate shot to get second. I think I had a legitimate shot to win tonight. Honestly, I felt like my pace was really good, and it just doesn't work out, man. Sometimes racing is tough, but I'm getting closer. That's for sure. I've been putting a lot of work in and trying to find that last little bit of pace that Ealing has made very apparent. So I think if I can even get close to the pace, I think I can outrace him. So I just need to get close.
Well, you were very close on pace tonight. It was a lot of fun to watch. That's why we had to talk to you, DJ. I know it didn't end the way you wanted, but man, there were some good battles there, poking and prodding your way through traffic. So congrats on that, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you, Kyle. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Third place in the Porsche Cup category. We should have him here. Morgan Burkhardt comes home on the podium in the 992 Cup cars. Morgan, tonight, the story has just been chaos. The TCR drivers are mad at the Porsche drivers. Porsche drivers are mad at TCR drivers. Where do you stand in all this? You came home with a podium, but probably had a shot to win too.
Yeah, no, I was. I wouldn't say I'm. I wouldn't say I'm part of the mad at the other class club. I tried to be pretty just laid back going through traffic. When I was behind Paul, I would just kind of go through the holes that he opened up because we were so close together. It didn't, it wasn't like, oh, it's 2 cars going. It's just one really long Porsche. But the one thing I really know, it's hard to follow in these cars. I never really raced this close before, but I was trying to bump draft with Paul and see if we could make a gap to Yelling and DJ.
Yeah,
and Jack behind, but Oh, good.
Sorry, I was going to say it was so much fun to watch, but it seemed like timing runs and things was pretty challenging. You know, a lot of times we see GT3 cars in multi-class interactions or prototypes, but it seemed like one of the challenges was the touring cars. If they get offline, they just can't get back on because their front tires are so busy. So we saw a lot of situations where a touring car would get off and then it would just kind of waterfall down the next couple of corners. It seemed like that in particular was a hard thing to manage as well.
Yeah, and especially like driving the Porsches coming up on some of the TCR cars, it's a little bit unpredictable, especially when we're catching them coming up over the crest of the hill into turn 3 and going down the S's. You really have to predict more than what you would normally do if it was just a single make. But yeah, some of their lines can get a little bit iffy if you miss your mark by just a little bit, which is unfortunate. But yeah, it's another variable. It's interesting to deal with.
Morgan Burkhardt, third place in the Porsche Cups. Thanks for talking. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.
And second place was Iling Wang, and Iling, holy cow, tonight was insane. From the drop of the green flag, an early mistake gets you back in traffic. You tangle with DJ, you fall back into the pack, and then it just turns into a chess match through traffic, and a very frustrating chess match. Take me through your night tonight, your battle with DJ, in the pack, out of the pack, trying to run Paul Darling back down, and eventually driving back up into second.
I feel really sorry for DJ because obviously that I locked up the tires and then just ran into him. I tried to slow down as much as possible, but obviously, I braked a little bit too late on the first lap where the tires were just so bad. So I feel really bad for him. I know that he's also super mad, but after that, like we're chasing back. I think the traffic was actually not that bad, but later on, when I think both of us were like second and third, and then we're trying to chase Paul down. But so I basically just typed in chat that let's work together. But obviously he didn't want to. Like after like one lap, he because there's traffic, of course. So he decided to go like side by side. It was like side by side for like half of the lap, which is like crazy. But I mean, it was a good battle, but unnecessary to in my opinion. But anyways, I hit him, so I feel really sorry for him. And after that, I think when I was chasing Paul back, I got like 4/10 or like faster per lap. It was good without traffic, but the traffic was like crazy. And then even for the lap down Porsches, they kind of spun right in front of me, and then I don't know, like right before the back straight exit, I had to like slow down like a lot of times. So also the incident points were like super high for no reason. So I decided to just chill for the last few laps.
Well, chilling for the last 3 laps got you second. Iling, thanks for talking to us. Tonight was a frustrating one, I'm sure, at times, but thanks for being here and chatting with us after what was a pretty frantic race. I was said earlier in the chat here that sometimes the races that are the most frustrating for the drivers are the best ones to watch. You and DJ put on a show, so go back and watch that one. It was a lot of fun. So thanks for being here, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah, thank you.
Paul Darling was able to outlast it, and as far as the race tonight, it was like we turned a bunch of toddlers loose in a candy store, and just everything was flying everywhere, and cars left and right and upside down and sideways. And Paul, you were able to sneak on through early and really never looked back, probably because you were so busy looking out the windshield dodging traffic all night. Take me through your night, because as far as I can tell, your car doesn't have a scratch on it, and you were able to keep all the drama in the rear view.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised to be talking to you, Kyle. I had by far the worst pace of the top 5, not even close. So when they got together in turn 10 and I just shot to the lead, I was like, well, it wasn't a fatal looking crash, so I imagine they're going to catch me. It's inevitable. So I was just trying to save my tires, and that turned into saving tires and wondering when they were going to catch me for 45 minutes.
They got close a couple of times. I mean, Iling was closing in at one point, and so was DJ, and Morgan and Jack were there as well. They got tangled in their own mess as well. But how are you able to manage the traffic so well? Because while you didn't have the raw pace, in traffic, it seemed like you didn't have any problem ticking off laps that were pretty reasonable compared to everybody else, and that ultimately was what got you this win.
Yeah, I'm going to guess it was probably a little bit of luck, but I also have a ton of, since my main car is prototypes, I also have a ton of multi-class experience, and I really like the balance of the TCR to Porsche Cups. That surprised me how fun that was, actually.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I think they have some differences that make them, I'm sure, probably challenging. No ABS in this car versus ABS in the touring cars. The downforce level of the touring cars is pretty high, but they don't have a ton of mechanical grip at low speed. So it's just a very interesting combination, Paul. But it looked like a lot of fun for you.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, and I know that was definitely a gift. So we'll see what the next round brings if I can make it.
Oh, it's going to be a lot of fun. Paul, thanks for talking. Congrats on surviving the night. We'll see you next time.
Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you. All right, Connor, let's go through a highlights reel here because there's plenty of them. Going back to the initial drop of the green flag and some of the issues that we saw, I think I've got some highlights brewing here, hopefully. And so there's Illing dodging and weaving through traffic. That was the first of many as he worked his way through. Here is, let's see, Anthony Montello and... Oh, I don't actually have it because my replay doesn't go back that far, unfortunately. But yeah, I'm not going to have any of it. Replay spooling, got to have it turned on, Connor. Never mind. But I did want to point out the results one last time here before we are done for the evening, as the sun has officially set here at Michelin Raceway Road, Atlanta. Paul Darling, Yilling Hung, Morgan Burkhardt, your podium in the Porsche class, and there's the podium in touring cars. And one of the things Paul said was... I drive prototypes, and that experience absolutely helped him tonight, Connor.
Yeah, it definitely seems so. He was so much more calm, cool, and collected through the traffic than almost every other runner in every single class tonight. It definitely contributed to him winning this race by just about 10 seconds. Very consistent. That's what won him this race tonight. Well,
that was crazy, crazy stuff. And next week, where are we headed to next week? I think we're at Watkins Glen next week, if I recall correctly.
That is correct.
Indeed we are. So Watkins Glen, that'll be a lot of fun. I think we're on the short course as well. So that's going to be even more fun to be had next week for the Washington, D.C. Region SCCA Virtual Racing League. That'll do it for us tonight here from Braselton, Georgia. Wrapping up with the sundown. We'll see you next week from upstate New York for another round of touring cars and Porsche Cups.